Matthew, it's been a tough year for IPO performance. Were you surprised, nervous going into the open today?
Well, I think that we were really had a great team behind us, both at Cloudflare and then the advisors and investors and bankers that we were able to work with. And so you're always nervous going from a private company to a public company, but I think we were really well prepared, and we're in this not for any short-term performance, but how we're going to build a really enduring business that can fulfill our mission of really helping build a better internet.
Investor perception of tech growth stocks, how did you find that during the roadshow?
No, I think that there's been volatility in the market in the short term, and there will be volatility that we live through. That's the nature of markets. I'm really, it has been fun for me today because my dad was a stockbroker growing up, and I watched the floor of the New York Stock Exchange all my life. And I think that the great companies are those that can execute over the long term, and I think we have a really big potential opportunity, and we want to build what is an enduring company over the long term.
You've been plowing money into growth, but at what point do you turn to profits?
I think that the year before you go public is a very special year for you to make sure that you've got all the systems and processes in place so that you can have real stability. And so we invested a lot in 2018 into our G&A resources in order to make sure that we had stability in our business and that we had the IT infrastructure and the accounting infrastructure to be a public company. And so we're confident that we'll be able to continue to execute, and that this is a really big market, and that we'll be able to be a company that can thrive in the long term.
You have a tough job with some of your customers, protecting the public from things like white supremacy, terrorism. You have banned a couple of those. What's a decision-making process behind that?
I think when we started Cloudflare, we realized that what we were competing with was the on-premise hardware by companies like Cisco, F5, those sorts of businesses. And the reality is that bad content flows through those boxes all the time, and it would be strange if they were making a determination on what content was good or bad. And so we've always been very reticent about playing the role of internet content arbiter. But sometimes there is content that is just so abhorrent, and there are platforms that are designed from the beginning to be lawless. And in those cases, sometimes we have to step in and make those decisions. But largely our team is really dedicated to working with public policy officials and law enforcement officials. The FBI has been a Cloudflare customer for a really long time because they know that we have great data on who the bad guys are online, how to stop them, and that fundamentally is what we do every day, protecting our customers against literally more than 44 billion cyber attacks on a daily basis.
So do you feel as though you have some responsibility to help police the internet as you try to make it better?
I think we have a responsibility to make sure that we're following the law in all of the places that we operate around the world. Cloudflare has equipment in more than 90 countries around the world, and those laws change and differ depending on those different countries. But I think that we're reticent to make the editorial decisions on what is necessarily good and necessarily bad. We sit much deeper in the internet infrastructure than a Facebook or a YouTube, and as a result, we're a lot more akin to the printing press than the publication. And so ultimately, at some point, the printing press may have a responsibility to say, this is over a line, but I think that's a different line than you see from the big social media and other platforms.
How has it affected your business so far, the two decisions that you made to ban those two bad actors?
I think that what our customers see is that we're really thoughtful and careful around those decisions. And so that has, I think, built the trust that we're going to do the right thing. We're going to let our customers set the policies that are right for them. Because a lot of our customers are actually media platforms themselves. And if we undercut their policies, then that would feel, it would feel like it was undercutting what they were doing. And so I think that they know that we're responsible and thoughtful in those ways. But then I think that we're at times when there are organizations that really cross a line that we know that's a place that we then have to step in. But largely, I think that what it's done is really build an enduring trust in our business. We have a net promoter score, which is when our customers refer us to other customers, of 68, and that rivals some of the best consumer brands in the world, and is part of the reason why we've been able to grow as efficiently and have the real trust of our customers.
Matthew, you operate in more than 90 countries around the world, China among them, where you have a partnership with Baidu. Negotiations on that partnership are coming up next year. How are the trade talks and the tension between US and China affecting that?
So we just renewed our partnership with Baidu as of September 1st, and they have been a terrific partner for us over the last 5 years. I don't think we've seen any challenges from either the US or the Chinese side in that partnership so far, and I think what we've proven is that we can be a good partner in China, which for a company of our size and scale is very unique in our business. What's powerful about Cloudflare is if you care about any market in the world, we can provide you a consistent platform, including across China, to be able to provide that. And so what I actually thought has been interesting is that as the Chinese economy has slowed down, what that's actually resulted in is Chinese companies looking for ways to expand outside of China. And so we've worked with some of the biggest Chinese brands now to make sure that they can sell their products into India, into Brazil, into other markets. And ultimately, while in the short term there might be tensions around various countries, over the long term, the US is an enormous market, China is an enormous market, and I think that there's a real opportunity to help facilitate trade in the long term. And so in the long term, I think it's going to be fine. In the short term, we haven't seen any challenges.